They didn't conquer cities with armies. They controlled them with debt. One family became so powerful they financed kings, influenced elections, and even controlled the Pope. Not through force, but through a system of money so effective, it still shapes the world today. In the 1400s, Florence wasn't supposed to dominate Europe. It had no massive army, no empire. But it had something far more powerful. It became the financial engine of the continent. Merchants, traders, and rulers all needed one thing: capital. And Florence became the place where that capital lived. At the centre of it all was the Medici family. The Medici didn't just store money, they created financial dependency. They lent money to kings who couldn't fund wars, to nobles trying to expand influence, even to the church itself. But here's the real strategy. They didn't just collect interest, they collected leverage, because when powerful people owed them money, they didn't just owe repayment, they owed loyalty. The Medici understood a principle most people miss. Wealth doesn't come from owning everything. It comes from controlling the flow between things. Money moved through their banks. Information moved through their network. Power moved through their relationships. They positioned themselves at the centre, where every important decision passed through them. And from that position, they didn't need control. It came automatically. Fast forward to today. The system hasn't changed. Banks don't just hold money, they deploy it strategically. Investment firms don't just grow wealth, they decide where capital flows next. Platforms don't create value. They sit in the middle of transactions and take a percentage of everything, exactly like the Medici. The players have changed, but the system hasn't. But systems like this come with pressure. When your power is tied to money, you're exposed to everything that affects it. Politics, debt defaults, power struggles, and when enough pressure builds, even the strongest systems begin to crack. If you're starting to see the pattern, that's because this isn't just history. This is how power still works today. The same systems that built families like the Medici are being used right now, just in different forms. So if you want to understand how money, influence and control really operate, subscribe. Because once you see the system, you start to see it everywhere. So what does this actually mean in the modern world? How did the Medici build their web of control? First, by controlling capital flow. The goal isn't just to earn money, it's to be in a position where money passes through you. Second, by valuing leverage over labour. The Medici scaled because they used other people's resources, time, money, influence. That's how wealth multiplies. And finally, position is greater than effort. They didn't chase opportunities. They built systems where opportunities had no other choice but to come to them. For most of history, people believed wealth came from working harder, building more, producing more, competing more. But the Medici understood something deeper. Wealth doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from position, from placing yourself where money flows, where decisions are made, where power concentrates. Because once you're in that position, you don't need to chase opportunity. Opportunity comes to you. That's how they influenced kings, without ever wearing a crown. And today, the same principle is everywhere. In the platforms you use, the systems you rely on, the networks you're part of. Some people are inside those systems, working harder every day. Others are positioned around them, quietly benefiting from every movement. That's the difference. So the real question isn't, how can I earn more? It's, where should I stand so that value flows through me? Because once you understand that, you stop thinking like a pawn and start playing like a king.